Coming up from here, Hayes, I always thought I was the smartest by analysing who is the best artist. So I used to always be, when I was like you lot's age, I used to always look up to the artist that's rapping in the area, and I used to try to figure out their faults. Like, oh, this guy, he's not going far because he's not doing that. That guy is not going far because he's doing that. So I thought I was the smartest, but I was actually the dumbest. Because as soon as I started doing things that they wasn't doing, I became one of the biggest artists in the area, selling the most, doing shows and everything. So when it got to the point where I had the nicest car, I had a house on rent, so I had my own house and I had my own studio. Everything was going so well, but then every night when I was going to sleep, I had that voice in my head like, if you die right now, where are you gonna go? But you know when you try to put it to the back of your head, you're like, oh, no, forget that. But every night it kept happening to me. Every night when I was going to sleep, if you die now, where are you gonna go? I ignored it. Every night I was ignoring it. I'd wake up because I'm so busy doing what I'm doing, so I'd wake up in the morning and I have to go studio, I have to go to do stuff on the streets and do all this stuff. So in the morning I'd forget about it. But every night when I'd go sleep, I used to think, if this is my last night, where am I gonna go? Anyway, one night I'm on my bed, I'm just chilling. I'm thinking, I'm tossing and turning, thinking this lifestyle that I'm in right now, it is so nice that I'm in. Like for me to get out of, I've got a house, car, all these things is so good for me. So I thought, if I wanted to even leave, I couldn't. Does that make sense? The desire is just so strong. My desires was different from a lot of people, because I used to envy people that used to be on the roads, that never used to do, like they used to have stuff like they used to shop and, you know, sell, but they never really had the, they never really had the battles that I was facing. So I always felt like I was facing the biggest battles because I was doing everything they was doing, but I was doing more. I was doing everything they was doing, but I was doing more. As in, I was sinning publicly, so I had people looking up to me. I had so much going on with like just everyone knowing who I was. And then it got to a point where, yeah, when I was sleeping and I was tossing and turning, I get a message on my phone randomly. And you know what? Yeah, it's mad touching because my sister even told me this the other day. I get a message from my sister, and me, I'm a very family person, but I didn't really want to connect with the family too much because in a sense of, imagine me chilling around family and it's like, they all know what I'm doing. It's not like I'm a undercover rapper. It got to the point where things was getting bait. So they all knew. So when I went to go chill with the family, say I'm with a family meeting, it'll be like, yeah, salam alaikum, setin, yeah. Then they'll be like, you still doing what you're doing, yeah? And it's just awkward, so I didn't want to be around that awkwardness of just being like, okay, yeah, you're still doing what you're doing, So I used to avoid it. So randomly, but that used to hurt me the most because I can't spend time with my family the way I wanted to spend time with them. So I was not spending no time with my sisters, and they got kids as well. So it's mad, I'm not spending time with my nephews and nieces, and I'm not spending time with my mum. So then even though I was spending as much time with my mum, and she never used to bring up the topic too much because, you know, Allah Waknam. And then it got to the point when I was tossing turning, I get a message on my phone. And then this message is from my sister. And it's just random, and I just looked at it. And it was what a coincidence that I was thinking bare that night. I was just like, life is so good for you right now. Like, and it's not even at my peak. And I was literally just about to do way more. Like, I literally had so much stuff like ready in videos that I already had. I've already shot these videos and paid for these videos, and I had my studio stuff all figured out. So it came to a point where I was just giving videos out. Like I didn't have to do nothing. I already recorded them and I had them all like together. So I was good for like the year, and I had like my first ever mixtape that I released, and it hit the charts. It went on iTunes and stuff. So I was like, life is so good for me. And then this message comes. And it says, it was a sheikh, yeah? And then the sheikh was reading, because I always knew music was haram, but I used to say, yeah, but shotting's haram and everyone does it. Yeah, smoking weed and all that stuff is haram, everyone does it. So this is my fitna, innit? This is something that I go through, you know. It's not something that, you know, everyone not face these battles. So then out of nowhere, the Sheikh is saying, there's a verse from Surah Luqman where it says, those who use idle talk to mislead those from the path, there will be a humiliating torment for them in hellfire. So, subhanAllah, as soon as I saw that and the recitation of the Sheikh, out of nowhere I just start crying. And then, let me just fast forward it because I think I've told this story before. And then that made me want to, do itikaf in the mosque. And the brothers in Quba, wallahi, jazakallah khair for all of them, man. They've helped me so much. This community right here, this mosque, that's why I love this mosque so much. Because they showed me, like, they opened me up, like they brought me in and banged me close. I met a lot of good brothers that's here in the masjid. And at first I used to think, when I used to go to the mosque now, man, people would judge you, man. They'll be looking at me like, the rapper's in the house. You know what I mean? So I used to always think, nah, man, I didn't really want to associate too much. But there was very, 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 very showing love. There was caring. You know what I mean? They taught me so much about the deen. I was asking so many questions, stuff that I didn't know. You know, the more that you ask questions about the deen is the more that you want to know. Like, it's so interesting. Because no one's really a true believer unless you love the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more than anybody in this world. So that made me more want to question myself, like, who is this Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Who is he? Who's Allah really? Like, do I really know anything about my religion? So anyway, as soon as just before I was going to give up music, I was thinking about it. I was sitting right there on the left. Sorry to point now I'm there, but I was sitting right there on the left. I remember the day. I'm sitting there by myself. I'm just reading the Quran, yeah? Like the English translation, I'm just reading it. And I'm saying to myself, is it really worth it right now if Ramadan finishes while I'm doing itikaf, that I go back to music and I go back to studio and all this stuff because I gave myself a break. I said, is it really worth it if I go back? But then I thought to myself, okay, if I give up everything now, I'm going to be homeless because I never had a house. I was renting a house through haram money and all this stuff. So I thought, if I give up everything now, I'm not going to have a house. I'm going to be, not going to have money that's coming in. Like, so much stuff I had in my head, yeah. Then I said to myself, I was still having second thoughts, like, should I not? Because I was in such a predicament. And then out of nowhere, I just said to myself, you know what? If I give up everything, someone told me as well, if you give up everything for the sake of Allah, Allah will give you something better. And it's so amazing, yeah, that as soon as I said, you know what, forget it, man, I'm just going to give this up. I gave it up. So now I've fully submitted to everything. I said, you know what, anyone who's got my music, this is that, delete it, this is that, I'm gone. So a lot of people was messaging me, they were shocked. Why would you leave now? You just dropped him. You was just, it's like, you was knocking on the door and then the door opened and you said, nah, I'm all right. I'll turn around. So everyone was shocked. As soon as itikaf finished, they put my mum in a little council, like a little room where only she can go in. So that was like my excuse. I was like, I need to get this money, so I need to buy my mum a house. So that's the only way I can do that is through getting music. That's the only way I can make $1 million. So then, my mum she couldn't get a house for so long because of the council and everything. And then, as soon as I said, you know, I'm going to give it up, my mum rang me. As soon as I came out of itikaf and I thought, where am I going to sleep? She goes, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, salam. How you doing? You're right, yeah. I said, Alhamdulillah. She goes, you're never going to guess what? I said, what happened? She goes, Guri Bay CN. But for them, that's not English. In English, she said, I got the house. So I was like, wow. Like, I was so shocked. I was like, what? I was thinking about, where am I going to sleep when I come out of this masjid, yeah? But like, I can't go back to my house. Like, I can't go back and sell. Like, it's like me. Okay, I'll give you an example. If you're going to give up one thing for the sake of Allah, give it up all. Like, okay, so some people say it's hard. You know, if I stop smoking, I can't stop chilling with my friends. Okay, if I stop chilling with my friends, I can't stop listening to music. Do you get it? With me, it was such a big fitna. I gave up everything at once. And I thought, okay, here we go. This is going to be hard. And Allah just opened up so many doors. Boom, boom, boom. Allah opened up a door for me with new friends that was friends with me for the sake of Allah. So I didn't really have to chill with the old ones no more unless I'm giving them da'wah. Like when I see them, hey, I'll just speak to them, this is that. And then Allah opened up a place where I was living, because now I live just outside of Hayes. And look at the wisdom, yeah. If I would have lived in Hayes, it would have been a little bit more harder for me, yeah. But now where I live just outside of Hayes, if you think of the hadith of the guy that killed 99 people, at the end, what did the last sheikh say to him? He said, go to another village, sah? He said, go to another place and ask for Tawbah, go somewhere else. Why did he tell him to go somewhere else? Because that area is reminding him of what he used to do, the things he used to do and everything. So what I done is, look at the wisdom. Allah moved me outside of Hayes. I live just outside of, just outside of London, like 35 minutes. Yeah, just like 35 minutes away I live. So it gave me time for me to like fight my own battles, like to be like, you know what, yeah, stop it. I have to stop that slowly. Just stop that. And then all of a sudden, trust me, when you just keep at it, when you keep knocking down stuff that you're trying to fix yourself with, wallahi, you become so much more happier, man. When you're on this path and you give up all this stuff, you become so much more happier. I know as you're young now, a lot of distractions happen. People tell you, come do this, come do that. Social media is so like it's accessible now. So many. I'm just bait and all this stuff. And I get messages from people from outside of London that say, yo, I haven't got a mosque. What can I do? And I say, oh, go find some good companions. I ain't got no good companions. There's no one here. If you don't know how lucky you lot are just to have this masjid, Quba Mosque, and you got people that's your age, and they're the same Somali as you, or the same culture, even not Somali, people that's mixed. You've got people that's on the religion, you know what I mean? So you got to take these things. You have to say Alhamdulillah, man. And I'm not going to carry on too much. If you lot are coming tomorrow to the sleepover, inshallah we'll speak then, and we'll speak face to face. Sorry for coming late. Barakallah feek. Assalamu alaikum.